Pengu token was launched in Q1 2025 and was the most successful coin of Q2 2025. Palm.fun was launched in July 2025 and was the most successful coin of September 2025. And now we have Meteora, the Meteora token, launched in Q4 2025. And what's gonna happen next? Now I say this is gonna be the biggest opportunity of the Q1 2026, at least on the Solana ecosystem. Now, everybody who were around on my channel since I came back making videos, guys, long story short, we can discuss it in a little bit more detail later, but long story short, I think we're entering a macro bear market cycle for the altcoin as a whole. But that said, I think a select few of the best actually revenue generating companies, the most successful actual crypto companies with revenue, I think they're gonna outperform, all right? Like, for example, recently I made a video about Shuffle, and Shuffle was basically, nobody cared about Shuffle at all, but just outperforming and outperforming during the last few weeks, while everything else is practically like severely down, okay? Shuffle was outperforming. So similarly, I'm looking for the next major opportunities, and Meteora is definitely one of them. So in this video, we're gonna dive deep, and I'm gonna explain first of all why I think approximately Q1 2026 is gonna be the next major opportunity, and why I think Meteora token is gonna be similar situation to like I said, Pengu that was the most successful, and then Palm.fun that was the most successful. I think Meteora is next, like we've mentioned, and we're gonna discuss why. So let's first start analyzing, of course, sort of the short term, right? Let's analyze sort of the next 2 months that are supposed to take place for Meteora, and let's analyze how it could be the most successful token of the next few months. So basically, as I'm recording the video, Meteora launched only today, right? It launched like just a few hours ago as I'm launching the video, but that's totally fine, right? Because this is gonna be a roadmap video for the next few months, like I said, right? So obviously it has only launched, right? So there's really little history, and normally many people are getting wrecked on on all of these tokens that are only getting launched. Okay, so first of all, we have to zoom out, okay? And we have to take a look, like I said, about the most recent kind of equivalent situations of major token launches. So the most recent ones were, like we showed here, Pengu and then Palm.fun. So I think Palm.fun will be a little bit more similar probably to Meteora, but who knows? There are also chances, like if Bitcoin is gonna enter kind of a more prolonged bearish period like it had over here between January 2025 to March 2025, it could be more similar to Pengu. So in Pengu's case, right, so from the daily close, right, so from the daily close of the first day of trading, and let's actually, for more accuracy, let's switch here to the daily chart, right? So the daily close there was 2.8 for Pengu, right? And then it corrected another 87% to the bottom, and basically it corrected for 112 days or so. Now, like I said, that was Pengu. That was from the daily close. Now let's have a look on Palm.fun, which again, a more recent situation, more similar to kind of what Bitcoin has been doing recently. So in Palm.fun's case, the price on which it closed was basically 0.5, and then it corrected for only really 15 days, 15 to 20 days, something like that, and then kind of had a slightly higher low here at 43 days after the launch. And it corrected pretty close to 60% correction. So in both of these situations, both Pengu and Palm.fun, and I don't want to make like way too many examples, but absolutely the vast majority of tokens that are just getting launched, there's like some initial hype, there's initial kind of quite a lot of volume in the beginning, but then eventually it corrects, right? So thing number one is we're gonna watch where does the price gonna close the day. So as I'm recording the video, it's at 51 cents, but it's I guess it's quite decent that it's gonna close somewhere here around 50 cents. Maybe slightly more, maybe slightly less, but I think it's reasonable to assume it will close around 50 cents. So if it does that, right, let's really go here to the daily. If it does that, let's assume it will do something similar to pump.fun first, right? So it would mean that it will have to correct around 60%, which would take it to around 20 cents, which is also kind of a round number, which I think makes quite a lot of sense, that Meteora token could end up around there, around 20 cents region. And like we said, I don't know if it's gonna be as quick as pump.fun, but just kind of this is the data that we have recently, so we have to look, if it's gonna be 15 days, so it's still gonna be early November, and then either if the major low or the higher kind of more better trading opportunity, I would say, could happen in like 40 days, 46 days, then it could be early December, which to me makes a lot more sense. So also based on the recent price action from Bitcoin and the rest of crypto, it's hard to see kind of November being exceptionally bullish. Definitely not the first part of November, maybe the later part. And then December will have more chances to, have some decent kind of moves to the upside. And again, because Meteora is a new token, this is why I think Meteora could outperform. But that said, let's also come back to another possibility which we have to be open to. And that's the case if actually like the rest of crypto, right? So between December to January, right? If we go to Solana, for example, so January to March, even Solana corrected like to 60%, right? It went from almost $300, it went all the way to under 100. Bitcoin also corrected, all of crypto corrected really from December, January here, all the way to March and April. So again, we have to be open to this possibility as well. So for that possibility, the equivalent kind of situation was Pengu, which is over here. So if we'll have kind of a bigger, more massive correction in all of crypto, then we can have a similar situation to Pengu, which was like an 86% down. But you have to remember, especially for successful crypto companies, for successful tokens, if something goes down more, it will recover even more, right? So as an example, Solana was one of the main, crypto tokens that I was bullish on back in 2022 and 2023. And Solana was kind of oversold a lot more severely than everything else, than Bitcoin, Ethereum, Avalanche, Cardano, and many others. And this is why eventually this last cycle, Solana outperformed and had much better gains, because it was still a really successful protocol that was like way oversold. So eventually it did like a 30x for a large coin. So what I'm saying is, if we actually do enter more significant bearish phase, then Meteora will correct more. Potentially, something more closer, more reminiscent to what Pengu did here. So like we said, that was, like an 86% correction from the first daily close. So like we said, if we assume it's gonna start at like 50 cents or something like that, if it corrects over, 100 days or so, sorry, of course it doesn't correct minus 114%, it needs to correct something like 86% over here. So if we correct, if we're gonna repeat what Pengu did here, the Meteora token should correct, something like 86%, which would take it to like 6 cents, right? Much closer to like 5-6 cents, which is gonna be substantially lower. And then sort of the recovery could be starting, again, if it's gonna take the exact amount of time it took for Pengu, the recovery should start, right, like we mentioned, like 112 days. So yeah, the recovery should start like in early February 2026, something like that, right? So obviously, I'm gonna be able to do follow-up videos on this. In the case that we're actually entering a major bear market that could be longer, I think Meteora could still be similar to because it only launched, like even if it's a bear market, I think it could still be similar to some tokens that were also really, really successful the last cycle, such as Render, which was another token that I was making quite many videos about in 2023. So in render's case, right? So why do I want to show you render? So in 2022 we had a major bear market. Everything was going down like crazy. Render here also, I'm quite sure, went down even more than 80%, 95%. But anyway, what I want to show you here, guys, is in the 2022 bear market, you can see that render bottomed here in June 2022 at around 30 cents. Then at the FTX collapse, which would be November 2022, it had a higher low around 40 cents. And then the rest was history. And then in the bull market, render made like a 30x, also another really successful coin such as Solana. So why do I show you this is so like I mentioned, it had like the bottom back in June 2022, and then at the FTX collapse it had a higher low. Why is that important? Because it kind of was faster than Bitcoin, right? So it collapsed in June 2022 together with everything else. But you can see that Bitcoin went to around 18,000 in June 2022, but then at the bottom of the total crypto market at the FTX collapse, it went to 15,000 for Bitcoin's case. So what I'm saying is like scenario number 3, right? So we have 3 scenarios here. So scenario number 3 is if we actually started a bear market here. That is, again, in my opinion, still pretty great, right? Because then Meteora, of course, could be correcting longer probably than all the way to February. But then once the correction is over, let's say again like May, June or something like that, it could do something similar, like I said, to render, right? So it could make a low together with the rest of crypto, but then once the rest of crypto maybe makes even a lower low, Meteora could make a higher low. Again, similar to render. So that said, yeah, like we said, we have 3 scenarios. So we're gonna look at what exactly Bitcoin and the total crypto market cap, the total crypto market is gonna be doing, and then we're gonna infer what Meteora is gonna be doing. But generally, even if we started a bear market here, because this bull run was kind of tricky, and like a slightly higher highs, then again higher, and then again, like this bull run, especially the last year of this bull run, especially since really here, like Q4 2024, it was a really like tricky bull market. So because the bull market was tricky, I'd expect the bear market to also be quite tricky. You know what I mean? Even if there is quite a substantial bear market in front of us, I think we could still have some pretty significant pumps along the way during the bear market. I could show you actually one more example. Let me show you one more example. So in the last bull run, the last bear market started in 2022. But then look at this. We had a token that was launched in early 2022. And it did, I remember, like a lot more than 100x during the bear market, like April 2022, right? I can show you. We were already in the bear market. Like it was still like not the severe drops yet. But that other token was launched over here in February 2022. And did 100x here in April 2022. So Bitcoin only kind of had a bounce here of 24%, and it was during the bear market. But we still had major opportunities to the upside even during the bear market. So this is why I'm saying, like, even if there is a bear market, because Meteora token is only launching, I think there are still like really decent chances for some really significant pumps during the bear market. So this is why, at least right now, as I'm recording the video, like 6 cents prediction, like, when I say 20 cents, I think that's really reasonable. This is what Pump.Fun did recently. I think it's actually really likely to be at some point at the 20, yeah, something like that. Let's do like this, like at the 20 cents region, right? I think this is, I don't want to say guaranteed, right? Like nothing's guaranteed in the markets, but I think it just has really high chances to get to 20 cents. Then it still has very decent chances to repeat what Pengu did, and actually also go to sorry, not minus, but to 6 cents or something like that. But you know, we're gonna kind of live day by day, and we're gonna watch what Meteora token is doing, and you know, in case we're reaching this kind of 20 cents region, and then we're gonna see what Bitcoin is doing at the same time. We're gonna take it day by day. But that said, right, so in the scenario that this is actually still not the bear market, in the scenario that Bitcoin still has higher highs to do, within this quarter until December or January, something like that, then in this instance, Meteora token is very likely, like I said, gonna be one of the best performers, right? Because this is what we had with the recent kind of equivalence of pump.fun, right? So the bear market was not over here yet in September, the bull market was not over yet in the summer of 2025. And like the moves that we had in the summer of 2025 were not that great, like by Bitcoin and everything else. But pump.fun, still like among the very few that did more than a 3x. So that was the most successful one. So of course we don't know like what's gonna be the extent of the move, right? So if Bitcoin and Ethereum are gonna, if Bitcoin, let me show you here like something that I kind of drew out, which I think could happen like in a Max Payne situation, that we are having like lower highs but also slightly higher highs. So let's say we're gonna get to only like a slightly higher high here for Bitcoin and reach like something like 128, 129k. Then it's gonna be similar to what happened with pump.fun most recently, right? Because like we're still not having any majorly explosive moves, but then Meteora, like I said, could do something similar, could also do like a 3x or something like that, like pump.fun made. Then of course, like I said, we have the second scenario that maybe we will have a longer, more crazy kind of correction, but of course then the upside is going to be a lot more substantial, like it was for Pengu here. It was a 10x. So yeah, like even as I'm recording the video, looks like probably on the very short term there is some decent buying, right? So it's a kind of this slight downturn is ending for now. And like I said, I think it's decent kind of to assume that Meteora will end this day around, something around 50 cents. So that was the short-term part of the video. Now let's discuss the longer-term part of the video. So what I like is that, Meteora token is only launched now and probably will need to do a follow-up video. But what I've showed before with DeFi Llama here is that Meteora is, like I said, within sort of the top 5, top 4 of the decentralized exchanges that have the highest volume in the last week, which, like 1 billion daily and 8 billion in a week. Now, we can see that the protocols that are above Meteora would be Uniswap and PancakeSwap. And then Radium, for example, is lower here. It has, volume of something like 60% or more or less of what Meteora has. Now, why is that important? I want to show you, let's have a look on the decentralized exchanges, right? On the category of the decentralized exchanges on CoinGecko. And we have some like perp dexes here, like Hyperliquid that we discussed also not too long ago, but we're gonna focus here on the spot decentralized exchanges, right? So that would be Uniswap and PancakeSwap, and also Radium, and also Aerodrome Finance. We can also have a look at that. So Uniswap, that's like the blue chip of all of the sort of decentralized exchange finance, right? So it is at the highest market cap, 3.7 billion. Obviously, at this point, I don't expect Meteora to flip Uniswap, but bottom line is that Uniswap, right now, as I'm recording the video, and like I've mentioned before, I expect Meteora to actually go down in the short term, and actually, have even a larger discount than what it has now. But you can see Uniswap is has a market cap that is more than a 10x of Meteora, but its volume. So let's have a little bit more exact comparisons here. So the volume of Uniswap is approximately a 5x higher than Meteora, but the market cap is how much higher? Let's have a look here, 3.7 billion. That would be something like that, 3761 divided by the Meteora one. That will be 14x, right? So that means that Meteora, even at the current price of 50 cents, is approximately undervalued against Uniswap by 3x. Okay, so let's say if Meteora will be on par with Uniswap, it should be $1.50 based on the current price of Uniswap. Now let's continue here with PancakeSwap, right? So the market cap 962. Yeah, so PancakeSwap, if we make this division, that would be 3.5x of a larger market cap for PancakeSwap than Meteora. Let's have a look again here in DeFi Llama. It will be, yeah, but the volume is 2.2x undervalued. So maybe over here it's not as severe as with kind of the blue chip Uniswap, but it is still approximately 1.5x undervaluation against PancakeSwap. And again, that's at the current prices. So that means Meteora fairly should be closer to 83 cents based on PancakeSwap. Lastly, let's make two more comparisons here with Aerodrome Finance and Radium. And why these are even more interesting, because first of all, Radium is the most interesting because it is on Solana, like Meteora. But because these two, they have lower volume than Meteora. But you can see that they are higher up, like Aerodrome Finance here has a higher market cap at 700 million. Let's first do Aerodrome, right? So Aerodrome has a market cap of 2.63 higher, but it has a volume that is lower, right? So that means that Airdrop Finance, that's kind of reversed, right? So Airdrop Finance should be like either Airdrop Finance should be 5x less valued than what it is now, or Meteora, which is a new token, so it's more relevant to compare Meteora to new token. So if you compare to Airdrome Finance, Meteora should be 5x higher than what it is now, which would put it at $2.50. So compared to Uniswap, it's $1.50. Compared to PancakeSwap, it's 83 cents, and compared to Aerodrome, it's $2.50. Lastly, like we said, let's compare to Radium that has a pretty similar volume to Aerodrome Finance, and looks like it was slightly lower here, so the market cap is not as severely overvalued against Meteora, but yeah, basically it is still undervalued. Even against Radium. So it is still undervalued by approximately a 3x versus Radium. So anyway, this is why long term, I think, right? So right now, Meteora is a much better opportunity than all of these other ones because it has only launched and the market still kind of doesn't know what price it should have. But again, like I said, we'll have to see where exactly does it close, right? So all of the analysis I've made before with the 20 cents and 6 cents and so on should be still based on the daily close, right? So still you can just reduce 60% of the daily close and then 85% or even 95% of the daily close depending on the scenario. But generally, there's still gonna be massive sell-offs, right? Because there's an airdrop going on right now and lots of people are gonna sell it, just like they did with Pengu and just like they did with Palm.Fun in the beginning. So every single token really it launches and it collapses early on. So like I said, so this is what's kind of exciting to me is that Meteora at the current prices is undervalued. And it should be even more undervalued in about a month from now. So this is why, you understand? So this is why even if we're at a bear market, but we're still gonna be having some pumps during the bear market, or if it's still not the bear market yet, and Bitcoin is gonna do whatever it's gonna do, this is why, like I mentioned, Meteora is just, I think, one of the most interesting coins to be watching and to be trading within the next few months, because it will have some pump during the next few months, and it will just depend on the success of Bitcoin. Like, is it gonna be a major pump? Like, will it be something more equivalent to what Pengu did when Bitcoin went from 75k to like 120k, right? So if Bitcoin, let's say, will go to like 150, 170k sometime within the next while, then I think easily Meteora could be like the 10x, the major 10x play of the next few months. But even if it doesn't, even if it goes, like I said, in my scenario, to like this, the 130k, 120, just a slightly higher high, 128k, Meteora then will repeat pump.fun, and it will still make a 3.5x when everything else is unable to do that, especially definitely not coins sort of this large, of this size. Yeah, and then lastly, of course, long term, as long as Meteora will remain in this kind of basket of coins that I'm watching, such as Hyperliquid, such as Shuffle, BC Game, Ethena, and Pump.fun. Long term, I think all of these, as long as they will, remain with large revenues, and many of these tokens nowadays, they're making buyback programs, because many of them don't have like that many employees, relatively speaking, but still pretty high revenues. Their revenues, excluding the crypto casinos such as Shuffle, BC Game, and so on, excluding them, Hyperliquid, Ethena, Pump.fun, and Meteora will likely have a lot less revenue in a bear market, and when kind of the crypto market doesn't do as well, which is not the case for the crypto casinos, by the way. This is why I said I think this is like the absolutely biggest opportunity of I guess until 2030, right? Like I made here in the thumbnail. But I mean, in my at least in my style of trading and investing, I still want to diversify a little bit, definitely with altcoins. So yeah, it's just another substantial addition to our list of crypto companies with actual revenue, actually successful crypto companies that are essential sort of in the ecosystem of DeFi and of crypto. And they're gonna be making buybacks, right? So we're gonna have a bear market at some point, if it's not started yet. But then again, we're gonna have a new bull runs again and again. So and this time, I think in a way it's gonna be easier to invest, especially if you're subscribed to the channel, if you're watching kind of what we're doing here. I think this time is gonna be easier. I think what this crypto cycle, like this bull run of 2025, taught us is that we're getting closer to the end of this kind of way too crazy speculation. Like, of course, it's always gonna be back, kind of the meme coins success and stuff like that. But just the market is maturing. Like the total crypto market cap is just growing and growing, and we have a lot more institutions and stuff like that. So eventually, just the successful crypto companies, they're gonna be having, like, their tokens are gonna be successful. Eventually, this market will keep maturing, but I think there's still like a massive opportunity for all of these tokens and for Meteora, like I've mentioned. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for being here once again. I was AR7 Crypto, and have a fantastic week and a fantastic weekend ahead, and cheers as always.